Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Atma Flow. Today, I wanna introduce you to my favorite book, most favorite book, the Bhagavad Gita, as it is the crown jewel of Vedic Indian philosophy. The Bhagavad Gita dates back 5,000 years ago. It's one of the most interesting and life transforming, life impacting books I ever read. So I'm really happy today that I can share this wonderful knowledge with you. There's different Bhagavad Gitas. This one is the most sold one, the most read one. It's used in libraries, in universities. Millions of this Bhagavad Gita are sold. Sometimes you meet some monks on the street selling this Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated by Bhaktivedanta Swami. There is many Bhagavad Gitas, and I also read few of them, at least partially, but this is the only one what really made a change in my life, what really helped me to transform my spiritual path into something very wonderful. You can see here Thoreau, Emerson read this Bhagavad Gita, also Mahatma Gandhi, Goethe, Einstein, even politicians like Nelson Mandela or musicians, Tupac Shakur, George Harrison from the Beatles, recently even Will Smith read the Bhagavad Gita. And myself, I read the Bhagavad Gita many times. I studied this book for many years. It's not about a book about religion, it's more about life. It's about you and how to live a positive and spiritual life. In the beginning of the book, you have a few critics who praise the Bhagavad Gita. You can have a quick look. Different universities and scholars and theologians speaking positively, very positively about the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita dates back 5,000 years ago and occurred on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The whole story, how this battle came about, you find in the Mahabharata. Maha means great and Bharat means nowadays India. But at this time, Bharatvarsha was meant for the whole world. And the Mahabharata is an epic poem, consists of 100,000 verses. And the Bhagavad Gita are 700 verses or shlokas from this great poem. The main story of the Mahabharata was about the 5 Pandava brothers who lost their father in a very young age and were sent under the shelter of their uncle Dhritarashtra, who had 101 sons, one of them Duryodhana, who was very envious of the Pandavas, and he wanted to become king, even though the oldest brother of the Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj, was supposed to rule the kingdom. So it happened that the Pandavas lost the kingdom to the Kurus under the leadership of Duryodhana. They were sent into exile. After 13 years of exile, when they came back to claim the rightful throne, Duryodhana was not inclined to give up his kingdom. So the great battlefield of Kurukshetra happened. And on this battlefield, there was Krishna and Arjuna. And Krishna, he was the chariot driver of Arjuna. So Arjuna, he was the warrior with bow and arrow on the chariot, and he asked Krishna, "Please, my dear friend, please, Krishna, show me my opponents. Show me before we fight. I want to see who is on the battlefield." Because it was not a normal battlefield, he was supposed to fight against his teachers, against his grandfathers, uncles, friends, relatives. So Arjuna was very inclined to see them before he attacks them. So Krishna was driving the chariot in front of the opponents. And the moment when Arjuna saw them on the battlefield, saw his uncle, saw his grandfather, saw his relatives, he was struck with fear. He lost all his knowledge, he was shivering, he started to cry. He couldn't hold his bow and arrow anymore. He dropped it. He was completely bewildered. How can I fight? How can I fight against my relatives? Against my teachers? Great sin will occur. Krishna, I can't fight. And we can see a great soul like Arjuna was. He doesn't want to fight. He thought, I become an ascetic. I leave this battlefield and I go in the forest to meditate and to become a saint. And at one point, Arjuna, he asked Krishna, "Krishna, please, be my spiritual master. Please accept me. I'm your disciple. I don't know what to do. Please, enlighten me." And this, my friends, this is the moment when the Bhagavad Gita started to happen. Bhagavad Gita is so amazing because you can read the whole book or you just open it at any page and there is always a message for you. There's always something to learn and to get inspired from. So just now I want to show you the first instruction of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. You can see here, we have here the Sanskrit, the translation and the word for word translation. In the back of the book you can even find the pronunciation of the Sanskrit, so you can really study these verses. And here you have the text plus the purport from His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So for example, we have here, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Krishna immediately told Arjuna, why are you lamenting? Why are you so concerned about life and death? Because there's not such a thing as life and death. The soul is always changing, like we experience from boyhood to youth to old age. And a sober person is not getting bewildered by it. Every 7 years we change ourselves. All the time we change our body in this life. So if you leave this body, you change to another body. This is the normal process, and Krishna immediately goes into this topic. The next shloka, one of my favorite, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and the disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, Ocean of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So happiness and distress coming like summer and winter, and we should not get disturbed by it. The Bhagavad Gita speaks about 3 different kinds of yogas. Karma yoga, fruitive work, where you detach from the results of your work. Then we have Jnana yoga, analytical study, meditation, to understand the philosophy, to understand the nature of the soul. And we have bhakti, the love and devotion, devotional service to the Supreme. The Bhagavad Gita is ever alive. It's not a book about philosophy or religiosity. It's a book about life. Everybody of us is engaged in our own battle of Kurukshetra. When you start reading the Bhagavad Gita, you may identify immediately with Arjuna. How can I fight? How can I do this? Or you feel lost. You don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. So you have to surrender. You understand your position and you cry out for help. The Bhagavad Gita is about conflict. How one is able to focus in bewilderment and frustration and anxiety. It seems all material things come down on you. And the Bhagavad Gita teaches you how to stay calm under these circumstances. It taught Arjuna how to fight, even with all his doubts. Even though he was a pure-hearted soul, he was spiritual self-realized. But Krishna, he showed him the way. He explained Arjuna what is his duty. He is a kshatriya, a soldier, a warrior. He's supposed to fulfill his duties. He can't run away. It was not his duty to become a saint in the forest. No, for him his way was to fight. And the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us the same. Not to run away, not to go in the forest, not to do something else. No, where you stand right now at the moment, just apply the spiritual values of the Bhagavad Gita. You don't need to change your profession, you don't need to change your hobby or your lifestyle. You just add the spiritual aspect. That's the message of the Bhagavad Gita. And isn't it amazing that on this occasion on a battlefield, they speak the highest Vedic philosophy. And we're in the same battlefield, the battle of life. It's not easy. There's birth, there's old age, there's disease, and there's death. And the topic of the Bhagavad Gita will help you to come out of this cycle of birth and death. It will help you to overcome the false ego. It will show you how to make the mind to your best friend instead of your worst enemy. It will help you to be balanced. One of the main topics is as well to be equipoised. Like the verse I just read for you, that distress and happiness are coming like summer and winter. but a sober, saintly person is not getting disturbed from it. To see everyone with equal vision, that you can see through the body, that you can see through the material covering, and you experience the soul inside the human body. You're not getting bewildered. To being detached, a great tool for achieving real success and happiness. To easily give up sense gratification, lust, hankering for material achievements, to become the best looking man, to have the best woman, the richest guy, the best car, the best house. The Bhagavad Gita will give you a higher taste, a taste you can't experience from something else. You can only experience when you connect with yourself, when you connect with divinity, when you connect with something supreme. It will teach you truthfulness and to follow your duty in all circumstances. It talks about meditation, different kinds of sitting postures, yoga, pranayama. And there's so many other topics in the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence, to come out of the circle of birth and death. The 5 main topics discussed in the Bhagavad Gita are Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala and Karma. Ishvara means the supreme controller, the supreme living entity. Jivas, the living entities who have a human experience at the moment. Prakriti, the material nature, material energy, consists of the 3 modes Sattva, what means goodness, Rajas, passion, and Tamas, ignorance. Kala, it explains the time factor, and Karma, fruitive activities. The manifestation of the world is not accepted as false. It is accepted as real, but temporary. It is likened unto a cloud which moves across the sky, or the coming of the rainy season, which nourishes grains. As soon as the rainy season is over and as soon as the cloud goes away, all the crops which were nourished by the rain dry up. Similarly, this material manifestation takes place at a certain interval, stays for a while and then disappears. Such are the workings of Prakriti, the material nature. The effects of karma may be very old indeed. We are suffering or enjoying the results of our activities from time immemorial. But we can change the results of our karma, our activity, and this change depends on the perfection of our knowledge. My dear friends, the list is endless. The Bhagavad Gita has unlimited knowledge, but the main message is it will help you to fight your own battle in life. If you want this copy, you can get it from Amazon, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Bhaktivedanta Swami. Like I said, there are many translations, but this one I prefer because this one is the one who transformed my life. In future, I would really like to speak more about Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Puranas and other Vedic philosophy and stories because they can bring out the best out of us. It will show us a spiritual lifestyle in 2021, how to apply this old spiritual knowledge in our daily life. I hope you enjoyed the video. I just tried to fire you up a little bit, to give you some inspiration, to take up the mission and read at least once in a lifetime this wonderful and great book. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below if you have any question and share it with your friends. Wish you a wonderful day and thanks for watching. Namaste.